you. Whether you're installing drain tile or doing any sort of digging, always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked and have the depth confirmed. That's farming with care. But if a line does get damaged, go somewhere safe and call 911.
Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
I think President Trump is going to make a series of announcements about other Democrats who are joining his campaign.
Whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent, if you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Joseph Anthony Corsai. We have not only a jam-packed episode today, but also a jam-packed Fry Transportation studio. We have a special guest we're going to get to in a second, but first, as always, our producer, Ryan Garazunas. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, good, Joe. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, man. And is he on the phone, returning from his vacation in Delaware? Mr. Gordy, Mark, did you see Joey Baby on the beach out there?
I am back from the Delaware shores, Joe. I did not see President Biden this trip, but missed him by a few days, unfortunately. Went to his church and for Mass that he attends, but no Joey Baby this time, but I am back in mostly peaceful Allegheny County, so it's good to be back with you guys.
All right, Mark, go ahead and mute that if you can. I think we have an echo. So, all right, well, that's great news. And finally, though, our guest joining us in the Fry Transportation studio, the owner of Rochester Smokehouse, Jeff O'Connor. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Rochester Smokehouse. The name of it makes me like salivate just a little bit, just saying it. But before we get into what happened last weekend with Kamala and her fake bus tour, tell us a little bit what you do over there at Rochester Smokehouse and how long you've been in business for.
Oh, we opened up in 2012, Joe. We just started off as a catering business.
Okay.
And we transitioned into a restaurant when we moved into the old Penn Beaver Hotel downtown about 4 years ago. And during COVID, we pulled out. So we started offering lunch and dinner about 3 years ago, and our catering is real strong. We do that 7 days a week, and we offer lunch and dinner Thursday through Sunday.
Just no, I wasn't creeping. I did drive by today at like 8:30 in the morning. You had the neon signs on. I don't know why, but I thought I was stopping in and knocking. But all right.
That's the power of suggestion.
All right. So how I saw it. So in one of my group chats, a friend sends me a screenshot from Facebook, and it's your parking lot filled up with Trump supporters. And my first thought was, how did they get so many people there on such short notice? So just take me like a walk through what happened in like the days leading up to that, or I guess the hours leading up to that. Did anyone from Secret Service contact you before saying Kamala's going to be coming down? What was it leading up to before we get into the day that day?
Well, it was Friday. Friday morning, I seen a big crowd gathering over at the Beaver County Democratic headquarters, which is right across the street. And I seen some big shots. They're all dressed up, and a lot of law enforcement over there. And then it was in the afternoon that I start seeing feds show up. Mm-hmm. A couple of them come in for lunch, and I was told that she was coming to town on Sunday, and they didn't have an exact timeline, but more than likely sometime between noon and 5 o'clock. So I had a 2-day notice, advance warning that she was coming to town. So we were open for business normal Friday and Saturday, and we served a lot of the feds and talked with them. Nice guys. In fact, we offered. I told them if that we respect even though I'm not a fan of hers, we respect the office. And as a former Marine, and we have a bomb shelter under our house that was built in the 60s during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Okay.
And we offered that to her and her staff if need be.
Okay.
And then things start getting crazy Sunday morning. So we decided to not open up for business because the main street was closed right in front of us anyway. They had barricades all up. So I put it out on Facebook. It was probably around maybe 10 a.m. or something, and I just let everybody know that she was coming to town, and we were going to exercise our First Amendment rights and have a peaceful protest, a Trump rally, if you will, and they showed up in full force, and no one ever seen her. When she did show up, she was inside a tent making phone calls, and I was probably 80%, 85% red, and as far as we could see, and we had a great turnout.
I'm glad it was on such short notice. You figured like if the presidential nominee is going to be heading to Rochester and it's the VP of the administration, you figured you'd have signs, you'd be blasting it everywhere. Isn't it weird?
I had the same questions, but I guess a couple of reasons. I guess the main one was for security. Okay, that being what happened up in Butler, not too far away. But the other thing is a lot of the smoke and mirrors. What the media portrays. She's trying to run a grassroots movement. She's looking for women voters. She's looking for the black vote. So she makes token passes through rural Pennsylvania. In fact, we listened to the governor of Pennsylvania talk the first night of the DNC, and he actually brought up Beaver County, on the live air. He told a lie. He said that, there's a small town in rural Pennsylvania in Beaver County called Rochester, and she stopped there and spoke with the local business leaders and the local politicians, and none of it was true. She was inside making phone calls, trying to raise money, and making these token stops. I guess she did stop in Aliquippa and talk to the football team. I guess there was a crowd less than 100. And then I had a friend in Moon Township that actually witnessed the double filming of the show.
Take us to that, because I saw two different things of two different Doritos, and Tim Walz throwing them over. She was already holding Dorito. So that was fake?
It was all fake. Yeah, it was all fake. Just like whenever CNBC was broadcasting live from Rochester about 3 p.m., and I had it on my TV, and they were inside they were down at the river, okay, interviewing an elderly couple who said they had drove 3 hours to see her. And of course, they didn't see her. They were almost a mile away.
What a shame.
I mean, it's just, again, it's a allegory. I mean, they're making it out to be like they're on the scene, and they're nowhere near, and no one's seeing her, and she didn't speak with anybody, and it's just it was a big disappointment. I think a waste of taxpayer dollars and resources.
Of course, because she flies in on whatever it is, Air Force 2, to take a bus from Moon to Rochester, and then from Rochester, Aliquippa, and then from Aliquippa back to Moon, and get on a plane and fly to Chicago. How is that a grassroots bus tour? Do you see?
I personally don't, but the way the media portrays things, they well, we all know how they don't always tell the truth.
Oh yeah, yeah. Say whatever you want about Donald Trump. He was right about them being fake news. Boy, was he right about that. Okay, so let's go. And Mark, you could jump in whenever you're. So let's go to like the day of. So, what time did people started gathering on your lot? How quick was it? I mean, did it build up really quick? The whole thing, was it like a couple hour long thing in the day, or was it just like people showed up like an hour or two before she came? She talked on the phone. People left.
Well, they start putting the barricades up where you couldn't even. The streets. They were shutting the streets down, putting the barricades up to no one could get on the sidewalks, even in front of our place. I think it was early in the morning.
Okay.
And then the real crowd started showing up. Our place was packed within 2 hours of having made the post on social media. Mm-hmm. And the bus rolled into town. It was about 3 o'clock. So for 3 or 4 hours, it was just a lot of protesting. And we had, and right next to us, we have some neighbors and with a daycare center there. And they had Harris supporters over there. And there a few of them came onto our property, and we asked them, "Are you here to support Trump?" And they said no. And we asked them to get off our property. We wanted a peaceful protest. We had one young fellow there that I had a couple people come up to me and say that, they were concerned with this one young gentleman. And so I went up and I asked him. He had a Obama shirt on, like an 09 Obama shirt. And he had like a bookwormish type, and he had everybody spooked out. So I went to ask him. I said, "Are you here for the Trump rally to support Donald Trump?" And he said, "Do I have to answer?" And I said, "Well, I'm just asking you because if you're not, we're going to ask you to leave." "Well, is this your property?" I said, "Yes, it is." He said, "Well, how do I know?" And I said, "Well, because I'm telling you, it's our property." And he was getting he was looking to stir the pot, let's just say. So I had I got a little loud, and the deputy come over and removed him. We had somebody that was standing out in the front of our place, and I was told later, they stepped into the grass at our neighbors, where all the Harris supporters were, and they started screaming "Get off our property! Get off our property!" And so there was a little bit of tension, there. But other than that, there was no conflict or nothing physical.
Were you ever worried that, like, you watch the news, remember January 6th, and were you ever worried there's like a Ray Epps type guy there in MAGA gear that could maybe, because it's your business and you'd be you'd be in the crosshairs. I hate to use that word, especially what happened last month, but you'd be in the crosshairs for it, and it would be blamed. It would be all your fault, and your business would suffer. So were you ever nervous that, hey, maybe I should be out there. Maybe I should be on the lookout for everyone. Or was it always peaceful? Were you never worried?
No, I can't say I was never worried, because there were some people that were obviously on our property looking to stir the pot, and they were looking for a reaction. Okay, and we were as professional as we could be, and we just simply. My wife had asked one of the ladies to if she don't mind to get off our property. She's got Harris stuff on, and we just asked the people to leave. We knew we'd have repercussions. You don't see business owners taking political stances because, they're worried about losing money.
Yeah.
And, what it's like I told Eddie on the show, I says, it's the love of money that's evil. And I'm not going to let the love of money dictate me taking a stance, which I think is the biggest election in my lifetime. And as a former Marine, I'm a strong supporter of Trump. I'm extreme left socialist platform that Harris has, and so I felt the need to stand firm and exercise our First Amendment rights. And we had threats. I had some there were threats. We're going to boycott the business. We're going to burn the place down.
I saw on the internet someone said they got food poisoning, I think, from you. And then, they stopped short of accusing you of being responsible for the biggest hepatitis A outbreak like Chili's or something. But still, again, never heard anything about this before. Nothing but good stuff about Rochester Smokehouse until you guys decided, hey, let's do some peaceful, fiery but peaceful, I guess. Is that a good way to put what happened on your parking lot? Not real fires like how it was in Minnesota and Minneapolis. Fiery but peaceful. People expressing themselves, because what more can you do in this country? What more can you do?
Well, as a business owner of 38 years and a former Marine, I have no problem exercising my rights, and I'm not going to be swayed by the love of money. Our business is thriving. In fact, since then, we ran out. We couldn't even open on Saturday. Of course, we had 3 weddings to cater, but we had an overwhelming response. Our lunch on Thursday and Friday, I can't tell you how many support. For every hater out there, there's 4 supporters. And it's only helped business. I'll be honest with you.
Well, I was going to ask how has business been, but I think you answered that good.
Yeah, business is booming. It's been steady. We're not going anywhere. Our reputation speaks for itself. Those false allegations and attempts of defamation of character on those Google reviews, they were all, none of them were valid, and Google took them all down. They had used fake accounts. They had no history of Google. And if you petition Google they know.
It takes a bad person to want to do that.
It really does.
You're a family man. That they're trying to take money out of your pocket, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. They're trying to take. And I would never do that. If someone was a leftist, even if they were a leftist, if they made good food, I would go there and I would eat. I don't care. That's just the way I am.
It's the sign of their ignorance.
Yeah.
Hatred comes from ignorance, And when people aren't informed in these, I like to call, when I was born and raised, my father taught me there's two kinds of people in the world: leaders and followers. Leaders and followers, givers and takers, if you will. And a lot of these people, they're just followers, and they get. You tell them something, and it's emotionalism. You watch the DNC, and Michelle Obama's, they're my body, my right. Okay, it's sad to say that. It makes me think about the body inside the woman. The baby's body. Do they have any rights?
I always say, how is something with its own DNA and heartbeat somehow your body or choice? But people say I'm crazy. So
I remember back in the 80s when I lived outside of Detroit, there was Dr. Jack Kevorkian.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Remember, he was the doctor that would assist somebody in suicide that didn't want to live anymore. Mm-hmm. Their body, their right?
Yeah.
Government shut that down. Yep. Wouldn't allow them to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now here we are so many years later, back to my body, my choice. We've seen this before, okay? They shut Kevorkian down. In fact, they threw him in jail.
Yeah.
Michelle talked about we want to honor our mothers and our grandmothers. They laid the groundwork down. Well, I'm thinking, if you want to honor your mother and your grandmother, don't have sex before you're married. Don't, you go out and I was born and raised where there were repercussions for your decisions that you made. Mm-hmm. You were accountable. What they're saying is, hey, now I'm not talking of if it affects the woman's, health, if she's going to die if she has a baby. But if you make a bad choice and you decide you want to go out and sleep with somebody and then you get impregnated, and I'm just going to kill the baby because I don't want to deal with it. I mean, that's murder, and they twist it. My grandmother laid down the.
Or they'll bring rape in. Like what's the percentage of the people?
In incest and and so they try to turn it all around. But if you're not a follower and you know the facts, you can't be swayed with lies, and deceived with this false information. And the other big point is our borders. I made the comment the other day about imagine all the Secret Service. The Beaver County Sheriff's Department, the Rochester PD, the Beaver County Regional Police Department, all that. Their departments were all cut. They lost funding, they lost resources, valuable equipment for them to do their job, to stay safe, to keep us safe. They're protecting the woman that actually cut their funds.
Yeah.
How would you like a job like that? How would you like to be in charge of protecting somebody that is also in charge of you losing, your vest, or maybe not having the K9 unit no more because you can't afford to feed
I'd be
the dog.
popping Pepto-Bismol every hour.
That's a tough job out there, law enforcement today. Just like in the hospitality sector, you can't find workers. They have to deal with things like this, protecting people that actually cut their budgets to keep them safe and alive and to protect us. And their platform is just it's got, like I say, as a veteran, all my friends that are veterans, I don't know any of them that don't support Donald Trump. In the world stage, America's become a joke. We don't demand the respect that we once did, and people are taking advantage of us. We're overextended beyond belief. I remember Biden releasing all the strategic oil, and we never lost it. The gas prices stayed the same, and they gave billions of, we
were shipping it away to other countries.
All over the place. I mean, and we're here and we're there and we're so overextended and we're vulnerable. And and this Harris is going to be our leader. What's the world? The world already is laughing at us. What happens when this woman steps in? That all you got to do is go to San Francisco, go out to California. They're fleeing their homes.
I have a friend there right now. He just texted me before I got on the show that he saw a woman get robbed of her suitcase after being there for an hour.
It does not surprise me. Oakland has the highest crime rate in the state. I have friends out there. They tell me people are just leaving their homes. They feel so unsafe. The borders, 10 million illegals are in this country. And now the big thing is they're all registering to vote. And could you imagine getting 10 million votes? How that's going to sway the election? They're not legally allowed to vote. In these there's about 16 states right now, a lot of battleground states are stepping in trying to make sure that doesn't happen. But you better believe that's another reason why they let them in.
And before we take a break, I just go. Maybe you know this. They don't even have to vote. They just need. They just have to have the social security numbers, and they could fake the votes. That's all.
They
just
can
fake the
They
votes.
can fake the votes too. And you know, and our veterans are on the street and in shelters, and they're putting these illegals into nice hotels and
Real
giving
nice.
them Visa cards.
And they're not even satisfied with that.
They're not satisfied with that.
All right, we got to take a break. We're here with our guest, Jeff O'Connor from Rochester Smokehouse. Stay tuned. We're going to talk to him when we come back about what it's like being a small business owner in this economy that Biden has us in. All right, stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM. Brought to you by So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing. Whether you need your house washed, your driveway cleaned, patio done, fences, gutters, you name it, call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing at 724-252-4489. That's 724-252-4489. They're fully insured and offer free estimates. So what are you waiting for? Don't be the outcast in your neighborhood with a dirty house or deck. Call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing today. All right, so Jeff, we all know about shrinkflation and Bidenomics. I don't know how you can pull off shrinkflation on a rack of ribs. So as a business owner and a restaurant owner, how have you been affected by these policies of this administration the last few years?
Well, we just, I guess going back to my Marine Corps days, you adapt and overcome. And that's what we've done. We, instead of tripling our prices like on the wings or brisket and some of the other things, we just took them off of the menu. Mm-hmm. My very best friend, who's not with us anymore, Terry Leopardi, he had a business degree, and one thing he used to drill into me, he would say, "Jeff, I didn't ask you if you're busy or not, but are you making any money?" And that's one of the reasons why we don't get involved with any of those delivery services, because they're charging 30% to deliver their food. But what we did during COVID, when prices went through the roof in brisket, we just took it off the menu. We replaced it with lamb. We started doing lamb skewers, and to this day, they haven't left the menu. People caught on to the lamb. We're one of the only ones that do it in the Valley. The chicken. I took chicken wings off the menu. Traditionally, March Madness comes, they go up through the roof, and then after the tournament, they come back down. Well, they were $65 a case right before the tournament in early March. March Madness comes, they went to $120 a case. So, like Terry taught me, I don't want to be doing wings if I'm not making any money on them, and I'm not going to triple or double the price because people won't buy them. So we just took them off the menu until they came back down, and guess what? They still haven't come back down.
Now, if someone's a special order something, you'll do it. Obviously, you'll.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For our catering jobs, whatever they want, we'll do. But we have to limit. We offer so much at the smokehouse. I think there's over 10 different meats.
Okay.
And I make 10 side dishes every day from scratch. So we have a lot of choices. So if when corn went through the roof, we took corn off the menu. So that's kind of how we do it. Instead of raising the prices and putting that pressure on the customer, we just take it off the menu and we replace it with something else. And that's how we've done it.
Okay. All right. Now, you say you're pretty much a one-man show. Say, luckily, you don't have to pay a ton of employees because they say inflation is high. Yeah, but the wages are also going up. But wages aren't keeping track with inflation. So during COVID, you said you shut down. We spent about, I don't know how many trillions of dollars during COVID. All that money is the reason that we spent and wasted is the reason why we're seeing inflation today, because it doesn't, happen until, sometimes a year or two down the road. What are your thoughts that, you made sacrifices during COVID, but all the government did was spend our money, and now you're in this situation that you just said where you have to cut things off the menu, do this, do that, adapt? I mean...
Well, there's always a scapegoat out there, but you can't forget about corporate greed.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's rampant. Make no mistake about it. Corporate greed is rampant, and there's not much... let's just say, it's not regulated, okay? People, they pretty much charge what they want. When we had the overhead and we had a lot of dishwashers, cashiers, and servers, when we had the big restaurant down at the hotel, we couldn't find workers. Mm-hmm. Just like in a lot of the other areas, you can't find workers. There's younger generations, not all of them, but they just, I think they started getting those checks and they just don't want to go out and work. I'm 59 and I work 90 hours a week, and I've been doing that now for several years. Our generation, a lot of us, that's how we're born. We start early and we work hard, but you can't find workers today, and not just in the hospitality sector. So I had to pull out. There was an overhead. You got so much overhead, you can't find workers. 70% of all our orders were takeout. So what's really trending in the hospitality sector is fast casual and takeout. And that's our business model. So now we're out of my house. Okay, I operate out of the home. It's paid for. There's no overhead there. I don't have anybody that works in there with me when we're open for lunch and dinner.
Now, you never said Josh Shapiro is going to hear this and come crack down on you for having a residential and a commercial or something like that?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not, because we've been zoned. We're zoned commercial and residential.
Okay.
It's actually a split unit. I had my Rochester TV and radio business there for 28 years.
Okay.
So it's all. And before that, it was Linton Insurance. There's always been a business in that property. That's one of the nice. That's what we like about Adams Street in Rochester. There's a lot of, it's zoned commercial and residential, and that Adams Street has really become the business district of Rochester. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to revitalize downtown Rochester too.
It's nice.
It is nice down there.
Since they got that roundabout finished, it's real nice.
It is, and we're pushing. The local councilman and the mayor of Rochester. We just started I was asked to be on it to sit on a committee for the revitalization of the downtown corridor. Mm-hmm. And we're excited to get some tax dollars in there and get that town booming. Rochester is the hub of Beaver County. It's geometrically centered in the county. It's a great location. You have the rivers, the Beaver River and the Ohio. Yeah, we love Rochester. I've grown up in Bridgewater. I was just across the river.
Okay.
And I always wanted to go to Rochester. And I remember as a kid, of course, I went to Beaver and graduated. And my dad had friends on the school board at the time, and we went over, and it was going to cost the family like $1,500 a year for me to go to Rochester. And I still remember my dad saying, "You're going to Beaver, boy."
And you know what's what hurts the most? I'm a Monaca graduate. To hear somebody say they wanted to go to Rochester.
I had a lot of friends from there, and back in the day, we had CB radios, and a bunch of us got them one year for Christmas, and I met these guys on the CB radio, and here they lived right across the Beaver River over by the old Didios, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And one day we met down at the Hippity Hop, and we're still friends today. and we met on the CB radio. It was like 1975, and I would go over there to the work out with the football team, and they would take me into the rallies, the high school football rallies, and I just had such a good time. And back in the day, we had Infinity over there. That was the big dance. Everybody went over to Infinity. So I was always fascinated with Rochester, and still have a lot of friends over there. Now I've been a business owner and a homeowner over there now for 30 years.
Okay. You mentioned corporate greed and scapegoats and stuff. What are your thoughts on Joe Biden? Number one, is he fit to serve, and how much of this is actually his responsibility? I mean, is he making any of the decisions in your opinion, or is it something else? And if so, who do you think it could be making the decisions for our country?
Well, what you hear is you hear Obama's behind it all. That's what I hear, but I don't believe any of it. But Joe, he's a career politician. From Scranton, Pennsylvania. But the key word there is career politician, and the family's had some turmoil. There's some China influences there. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like Joe. I just, career politicians. That's what I don't like. Mm-hmm. I think there should be term limits. These people that are in there for so long, they're special interest groups have bought them. They have so many. So I'm not for that. And that platform is, when growing up, I grew up. My father's still a strong Democrat. I was a Democrat just a few years ago, and I switched over. I mean, today's Democratic Party isn't what we knew growing up. It's not. It's nowhere even close. No, it doesn't exist. So that's why we switched over to the Republican Party, I'm a Trump supporter because I have a respect for a businessman much more than, let's say, a career politician, especially a successful businessman. He's got hotels and golf courses and all kind of stuff named after him. I know that he's lost some money, maybe, but he's still. You see how much he wants to make America great again.
Imagine having one, and he has hundreds of. Imagine having one business hard to run. You're gonna have 100. You're gonna have some that fail. Trump Steaks, Trump Airlines. It's hard, I'm sure.
Exactly.
They don't focus on the good things he done, only the bad.
That's how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was going to ask you, why do you support Trump? But I think you answered that. Now let's get into a fun question or two. And all right, so you talked about having trouble finding employees back whenever you were at the hotel. So let's close our eyes and just imagine here. It's 2025. Kamala Harris was elected president, and she enacts a new law saying each business has to employ so many former felons or senior citizens. You have to employ one. Who do you hire? Joe Biden or Hunter Biden? It's a tough question. It's not easy.
Well, the kind of work that we do, it wouldn't be fit for a senior citizen. So I guess we'd have to go with the boy.
Would you want a drug addict, though? I mean, he might be out slinging something behind your back over there, taking money out of the drawer.
You know what? But I'd put him to work. I could promise you that. And if he didn't hold his weight, then we'd have to let him go.
Okay. But yeah, I always say, do you think Joe Biden honestly could work the drive-through at McDonald's? He can't do it. So how he can manage the country, I have no idea.
And the way that Harris got in there, with no electoral votes.
Yeah.
She's
never had one primary vote in a presidential election. No one voted for her last time.
I don't even see how that could even happen.
But it's happening.
It's happening.
Strange times indeed.
Yeah.
All right. So Tim Walz. Everything's about race with the Democrats, and they try to divide us by race, this, that. I don't know if you saw the video. Tim Walz says that he makes white guy tacos with no seasoning. How does that make someone in your line of work, Phil? No seasoning?
Let's just say that his tacos are probably as bland as his policies. I mean, isn't he the one that let the state burn down?
Yes.
Okay.
His wife said she could smell the tires from her window.
You smell the tires. So here's a governor during the Black Lives Matter movement actually let businesses burn down, the city burned to the ground. To me, that speaks a lot more volume than these unseasoned tacos. I wouldn't want anybody in a presidential office that would make those kinds of decisions and would allow cities to burn. Cities and businesses to burn down. There's nothing. There was
people
nothing,
died.
And people died.
People died.
There was nothing peaceful about that protest, and they allowed it to happen. That's a mockery. It's a disgrace. And this is the best that they have to offer. Mm-hmm. And there's people considering voting for this.
And don't forget, Kamala was on Twitter when it was still Twitter, not X, telling she'll setting up funds to bail people out of jail that rioted. We call it rioting because it's rioting.
There's no doubt in my mind that these people that are voting for them, Harris, is not because of what they're going to do or what they promised to do. I think it just comes down because they hate Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, their hate for one man is greater than common sense, wisdom, all of it put together. They hate a man that much, and I just can't imagine being so deceived like that. You know, and talk about earlier, I mentioned in the scriptures, because me and my wife were Christians, but it does say in the scriptures, in the end, many would be deceived. Many, okay? And not just in the religious faction, but also in the political, you know. One of the things that we pray for every night is discernment. Okay, wisdom and discernment and humility. Those are the three I always pray for. But being able to understand what's going on around you and not just being a follower, okay, or letting hate dictate what you're going to do or say. You know, hate. Don't be driven and motivated by hate. Seek out the facts. If there's anything I could say to the listeners out there, you know, get the facts and don't be deceived. And remember, your vote's very important. Get out there and vote. And I just hope that you'll vote Trump and that we can make America great again. And we're thinking about having a listen to this one. This is new. I talked to my buddies, the Honky Tonk Heroes,
okay,
and I asked them, do they have any Sundays open in September? And they said the last Sunday, I think it's the 29th. So first thing I did was check the Steelers schedule. They got in Indianapolis that day at 1 o'clock. I said, what? I think maybe we'll have a Trump rally at the Smokehouse, bring the band down, and we'll have 3 weeks to plan it. And then we started talking. We think my place is going to be big enough. So we're already thinking where we can move us to. But we're going to do something at the end of September, and the Smokehouse is going to be involved, and the Honky Tonk Heroes will be too. Okay. And we're going to have you're hearing it first here on the radio. We're going to have a Trump rally. I'm not quite sure where. I know some other business owners that have locations that would be more suitable. Okay. And stay tuned. There's more news to come.
Let us know. We might have to do a live episode from that.
We would like that, Joe.
Okay, awesome. Jeff, I don't know if you're going to stay for any more of the episode. We're going to take a commercial break. Where are you located? What are your hours? How can people support you in your business?
Okay, so RochesterSmokehouse.com. That's our website. You can go on there and find out all about us. Our hours are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 11 to 7. And Sundays, we're open noon to 6. We're takeout only. Our catering is available 24/7, 365. So you want catering at midnight, you want it at 4 a.m., you want to pick up at 6 a.m., you want it delivered at 2 a.m., we'll get it to you. There's nobody that does that. This year, our Smokehouse, Best of the Valley, we finished in the top 3 in 6 different categories. There's no other restaurant out there, and I don't mean to sound prideful, but I take tremendous pride in what I do. I'm a very hard worker. Our food speaks for itself. We treat people like family. I'm passionate about what I do. We would love to serve you. You can go online, look at our menus, and come on down and see us. And we appreciate you having us on the show. And as always, we thank the voters out there. We thank all those in the community, the law enforcement, Beaver County Sheriff's Department, the Rochester Police Department, their participation in that Harris stop. Okay, they all did a great job. Seriously, they come in. I talked with them. A few of the deputies, they're all good guys, you know. And several of them come in for lunch on Thursday. Yeah, lots of them.
What was that like? What was the lunch table talk like there?
Oh man, it was big. A lot of enthusiasm in the room. Let's just say that.
I bet. All right. Well, thanks for stopping in, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff O'Connor. Stay tuned, though, guys. When we come back, we're going to be talking stranded astronauts in the International Space Station. It's like Lost in Space meets, I don't know, what's the show? Gilligan's Island? Stay tuned.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship.
What
Football season is here, and East Rochester and Tuska Shop and Save is your tailgate headquarters. With all the food and beverages you need to make your tailgates and game day parties the best in town, fire up the grill with their top quality meats, delicious burgers, hot dogs, and chicken wings. Get your cheese and meat platters, dips, and all your game day snacks. Check out their wide variety of wines and the beer cave. Don't miss out on amazing weekly specials and save money at the pump with every dollar you spend. Stop by your Shop and Save at the Tuska Plaza or East Rochester today for everything you need this football season.
You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. Recapping early on the episode, we had Jeff O'Connor from Rochester Smokehouse here. He had some breaking news about a rally coming up in a few weeks somewhere. Stay tuned for that. But breaking, well, over the past few days, lots of people were apparently jumping ship and endorsing Donald Trump. So RFK Jr. on Friday suspended his campaign and endorsed Donald Trump, saying, "We have surrounded Russia with missiles and military bases, something that we would never tolerate if the Russians did that to us." And he brought up other things about how America isn't healthy, how he was basically blackballed from the Democratic ticket and taken off the ballot in numerous states. Mark, are we adding Democrats here by... We saw Tulsi Gabbard just endorse him today. Are we turning... is it happening? Is it finally happening?
Good. Is this Dawn? Hi, my man. Let me go ahead and patch it through. Joe will be right with you.
Hold on one second, Mark. I think we have a caller. Do we have a caller? Caller, are you there? It's Dawn. Dawn, how are you? I'm great. Because we left the fine language for a decade and didn't do anything, and now we're fighting from behind. But we're getting back there. Does that make sense? We're getting back in the fight, and I think public opinion has swayed. It only took a little bit more craziness, but yeah. Thanks, Don. Take care. You know what blew my mind? Because RFK did his own internal polling. Why is he saying there's 10 battleground states? I only count 8. So that means that maybe Virginia's in play, Minnesota. I'm trying to think what the other 2 can be, because he said he's taking his name off in 10 states. I should probably looked into which 10 they were. $70 days. Early voting too. I think it's 70 days on a wake up, and then early voting starts in like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks or something. Mark, you don't think the media will try to say the Kennedy endorsement hurts Trump, because they've lied about everything else. Why wouldn't they just lie about this too? Well, get ready to call your dad after this episode, though, because did you see the story about RFK and the cocaine? They're going to try to character assassinate him. Did you see it? Dealer, not just buying cocaine. He's a cocaine dealer with no witnesses. Just some old student must have said it. Meanwhile, We talked about Hunter Biden earlier in the episode. There's Hunter Biden's on video weighing crack cocaine and then smoking it with hookers. And no one cares. Why is it coming out now with RFK Jr.? Because they have to control the narrative and make him seem bad and evil and crazy. Cocaine's cool now, I guess, though. Yeah, why not? All right, before we take a break, did you see Alex Soros with Josh Shapiro at the DNC? That photo? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. All right. Well, like I said, Alex Soros, Josh Shapiro. I think PA has a law that gives the deadline of, it's in December, to do a recount and contest and certify PA's election results. So I don't know what's going on there with that, but there's a reason you see a picture of Alex Soros and Josh Shapiro together at the DNC. I wonder if that's his handler. It'd be nice, you'd think he'd say, but there's no conversations. There's just instructions given from one party to the other, I think. Call me crazy. All right, we got to take a break. When we return back, it's a sad anniversary. 13 Americans were killed 3 years ago in Afghanistan in that botched withdrawal. Joe Biden. We're going to talk about it when we return. Stay tuned. This is Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP.
Join Beaver County Radio and Electric Garage Door Sales on August 27th from 5 to 7 p.m. for a special live broadcast from opening night of the Big Knob Fair in New Sewickley. The all-new Beaver County Radio prize van and prize wheel will be on hand. We broadcast live from the Electric Garage Doors booth. We'll have live coverage of the opening ceremony and parade. And while you're at the fair, check out the Electric Garage Door Sales booth. Beaver County Radio's live broadcast coverage is being brought to you by Novak Auto Parts, Gordon's Auto Service, Milk House Meats, Suman Automotive, Slurp and Burst Boba Tea, Circle of Friends, Electric Garage Door Sales, and Beaver County Radio.
Do you like sports? Then tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Brian is loaded with statistics and interesting sports viewpoints. The show can also be seen on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Plus, Brian will be taking your calls as well. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, coming to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gullah of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WNBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WNBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WNBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. Kind of a disgusting story to tell right now. So Kamala Harris and Joe Biden skipped the 3rd anniversary at Arlington National Cemetery, honoring the 13 fallen soldiers who were killed in that Afghanistan withdrawal 3 years ago. You know who did show up, though? Donald Trump. But you know why Biden and Kamala didn't? Because they can't. It actually may be worse politically for them if they do. And that's why. Because politically, it's better for them not to show up, and politics is all they care about, I guess. And remember, these are the same people that trashed Trump for the, quote, suckers and losers comment, which probably never happened. Ryan, play that audio from 3 years ago of Kamala laughing after this.
I want to talk about two things. First, Afghanistan.
Now, Mark, Trump went there. I don't even know where to take this story, honestly. It just makes me just sick how this isn't front page news. Absolutely sick and absolutely disgusting.
13 soldiers died at the Abbey Gate suicide bomb. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yes. Abbey
And like you said here in the notes, I mean, it's actually politically worse for them, Biden and Kamala, to show up to Arlington National Cemetery than it is to not show up. They basically ignored it, and they're the ones that created it. Kamala has stated was in support of Biden's decision to do that.
I'll help you out with an article from Politico. Harris says she had key role in Biden's Afghanistan withdrawal decision. That's from Politico, I think 3 years ago.
One of the biggest disasters in the history of the United States military. So I'm glad we haven't forgot about this, because I was worried that this would have been memory hold by this point in time. But we can't forget what happened. We can't forget what happened. And Donald Trump obviously hasn't forgotten, because he was there laying a wreath and honoring the fallen.
Okay. Moving on, speaking of Kamala, she's supposed to do an interview. She hasn't sat down. She hasn't talked to anyone. You heard we played her through. All she does is laugh, even when people or American soldiers are dead. So Harris told reporters on August 8th she wanted to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month. What is today? The 25th? I don't even know what she has 4 to 5 days left. I guess we're not going to have an interview for the end of the month, so she gets out of it again. I guess we'll see her at the debate. I don't know. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And then just to bring in Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a completely blank schedule today, Mark.
Yes. He was on his way from vacation to another vacation. Pretty good gig there, President of the United States. Going from vacation in California to vacation at Rehoboth Beach.
Must be nice.
Joe, what about this debate on ABC? Kamala wants notes and a sit-down posture, and she wants notes. I mean, is this debate even going to happen?
I know we are in back-to-school mode, but the nominees for president shouldn't get open book exams the first week, right? I mean, come on. Why? An open book? I mean, she wants notes. I understand having notes, but what do you want? Why do you have to be seated? I don't. Is she going to have a counting cars machine attached to her leg where she's going to get nudged for what to say, what to do?
I thought Slapadopoulos might be the one of the moderators, but apparently he's not. It's David Muir from the Nightly News on ABC, and I forget the woman's name who's going to be the other moderator. But I'm not sure we even see this debate happen. I'm not sure if Trump even wants to debate her at this point. And he said he's not going to prepare for the debate, because he said he's been preparing for this debate for the last however many years. So I don't know. This is going to be super interesting. This is in 2 weeks from tomorrow.
The 10th, yeah. It's going to be fun. It's on is that a Tuesday? I think it's a Tuesday.
Yeah,
so no football, nothing.
Normally I say the debates don't really impact the polls, but I'm thinking this one possibly could.
The last one did.
Yes, in a very big way. Can Trump deliver another knockout punch?
I don't know.
But you know what, Joe? Back to this whole press conference thing, not talking to the media. What did Quentin Tarantino say? I don't need to hear her talk to the media. I don't, I'm still going to vote for her regardless. And I think a lot of Kamala support, everyone voting for her right now is probably in that same boat. So, can they get away with being in the basement, avoiding the media for the next 70-some days? It would be unbelievable if that were to be the case.
Don't forget early voting, though. Don't forget early voting. Maybe they're going to do it for 30-some days, sweat it out. I don't know. I don't know. They know. They do seem a little bit more nervous this time than last time.
Even Bill Maher. I watched the Bill Maher show. I do watch some leftist media just to see what the other side's saying. But even Bill Maher, he had Caitlin Collins from CNN on a show on Friday night, and he said, come on. How are you not going to sit down for one interview?
Yeah.
But people don't care. That's the thing. Like Jeff said, people will put their hatred for Trump above anything else. It doesn't matter. It could be, you could say to these people that are voting for Kamala, hey, we're going to go to World War III in a couple months. They wouldn't care. Honestly, that's the mindset of the left. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. But we have to wrap up here. 2 stories we did not get to. Like I said, there was 2 astronauts lost in space that are still stuck in space due to multiple issues with Boeing Starliner. They spent 12 news cycles talking about OceanGate, but I don't know why 2 missing astronauts is getting 0 coverage. And Telegram's Pavel Durov charged on 12 criminal counts in France. Are they going to try to go after Elon Musk next, Mark? You're up.
Yeah, I mean, guys, our listeners, there is no such thing as free speech in Europe. And I don't think Europeans even care about freedom of speech. There is no freedom of speech in Europe. There is no First Amendment, the bedrock of our great nation.
All right. That's all for today. It went pretty quick. Jeff O'Connor, our guest, amazing, from Rochester Smokehouse. Mark, you're back from vacation. We'll be here on Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. as always. However, next week is Labor Day. We will not be here Labor Day. We're going to miss next Monday, but we'll be back Thursday at our usual spot, 5 to 6 p.m. Can't wait to come back here Thursday, guys. Read you the news. Hopefully you'll be here listening. I'm Joe Corsi. Mark, anything else?
Love you guys. Thanks for listening.
All right. We'll see you guys on Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. This is Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM, WBVP.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.